Imagine a hot wind whipping across the desert sands. The air is thick with the promise of conflict, and the ground beneath your feet trembles with the march of armies. This is not just any desert, it is a stage set for one of the most significant confrontations in history. The year is 634 AD, the world is on the brink of monumental change, and the Middle East is the epicenter of this transformation. Two massive forces collide: the Byzantine Empire, heirs to the glory of Rome, against a new, unstoppable power surging out of Arabia, the armies of Islam. The clash is not just a battle of swords and shields, but a confrontation of ideologies and destinies. This wasn't just a border skirmish, this was a clash of civilizations, a fight for the future of the Middle East, and its echoes still resonate today. The sands of the desert would be stained with the blood of thousands, and the outcome would shape the course of history for centuries to come. On one side stood the Byzantine Empire, a thousand-year-old power, rich in tradition, military might, and the Christian faith. Their soldiers, clad in gleaming armor, were veterans of countless battles, and their leaders were seasoned strategists. Facing them were the Arabs, united by their new faith, Islam, and led by brilliant generals inspired by the words of the Prophet Muhammad. These warriors were driven by a fervent belief in their cause, and their unity and determination made them a formidable force. What drove these armies, these empires, to clash? The answer, as always in history, is complex, a tangle of religion, land, and ambition. The Byzantines sought to defend their territories and their way of life, while the Arabs were driven by a vision of a new world order under the banner of Islam. But one thing is clear: the Arab-Byzantine Wars would change the face of the world. The reverberations of this conflict would be felt far beyond the battlefield, influencing the political, cultural, and religious landscape of the region and beyond. The legacy of this clash is still evident in the modern world, a testament to the enduring impact of history. The Byzantines initially probably underestimated their new enemy. They'd faced desert raiders before. This, they thought, would be no different. They were wrong. The Arabs, fueled by religious zeal and the promise of riches, were unlike any foe the Byzantines had encountered. They were disciplined, ferocious in battle, and led by commanders of extraordinary ability. Early confrontations went badly for the Byzantines. Fortress cities once thought impregnable began to fall. The seemingly endless desert, once a barrier, became a highway for the Arab armies. The Byzantine heartland, rich with the wealth of centuries, lay exposed. Fear, real fear, began to grip the empire. The once mighty Byzantines were now fighting for survival. The year is 636 AD, a time of great upheaval and monumental change in the ancient world. The location, Yarmouk, a place that will forever be etched in the annals of military history. This river valley, serene and picturesque, would soon become the stage for one of the most significant battles of the early medieval period. Here, the fate of the Byzantine Near East would be decided. The stakes were immense, with the future of entire regions hanging in the balance. The Byzantine Emperor Heraclius, a ruler who had faced down Persians and Avars, staked everything on one massive counterattack. His reputation as a formidable leader was on the line. He assembled a vast army, perhaps the largest the Byzantines had ever fielded, to crush the Arab advance. This was a force meant to overwhelm and annihilate. The Arab army, though smaller, was commanded by Khalid ibn al-Walid, a military genius who would earn the title Sword of God. His strategic brilliance and unyielding determination were legendary. For 6 days the battle raged, a brutal back and forth in the unforgiving heat. The clash of swords, the cries of warriors, and the dust of battle filled the air. Then, disaster struck the Byzantines. Their lines faltered, and the once mighty army began to break apart. Betrayal, miscommunication, perhaps divine intervention. It doesn't matter now. The Byzantine ranks crumbled, the rout was complete, soldiers turned on each other, chaos reigned supreme. Yarmouk wasn't just a defeat, it was a catastrophe that shattered Byzantine power in the region. The aftermath saw the Byzantine Empire's influence wane dramatically, altering the course of history in the Near East. The year is 637 AD. The great prize, Jerusalem, the holy city sacred to Christians, Jews, and now Muslims, lay open. For the Byzantines, it was a devastating blow. Jerusalem, the city of Christ's crucifixion and resurrection, had been a symbol of Byzantine power for centuries. Its loss sent shockwaves through the Christian world. For the Arabs, it was a triumph of unimaginable proportions. The capture of Jerusalem confirmed their status as a major power and solidified their hold on the region. The Caliph Umar, successor to the Prophet Muhammad, entered the city not as a conqueror but as a pilgrim, a gesture of tolerance that resonated throughout the ages. The fall of Jerusalem marked a turning point in history. The old order was collapsing and a new power fueled by faith and ambition was rising to take its place. The Byzantines, though reeling from the Arab onslaught, were nothing if not survivors. They had weathered storms before, and they would weather this one too. The loss of the Levant and Egypt was catastrophic, but the Byzantine Empire was vast, its heartland in Anatolia and the Balkans still secure. The Byzantines adapted, reformed their armies, strengthened their defenses, and poured resources into their navy, becoming a dominant naval power in the Mediterranean. The empire that emerged from the crucible of the Arab conquest was different, smaller but more resilient. It would continue to stand for centuries, a bulwark of Christianity against the rising tide of Islam. By the early 8th century, the Arabs had carved out a vast empire. From the Atlantic shores of North Africa to the borders of India, the crescent moon of Islam flew high. But the Arab conquests were not just about military victories. They brought with them a new faith, a new language, and a new culture that would forever alter the landscape of the Middle East. The conquered lands, once part of the Byzantine and Persian empires, were integrated into a new Islamic world. Arabic became the language of administration, trade, and scholarship. Mosques and madrasas, Islamic schools, sprang up in cities across the Middle East, spreading Islamic learning and culture. The Arab conquests had given birth to a new civilization. The Arab-Byzantine Wars were not just some ancient conflict lost to the mists of time. Their legacy is all around us, shaping the geopolitical map of the Middle East even today. The political and religious fault lines that we see in the region, the rise of Islam as a major world religion, the spread of Arabic language and culture, all these have their roots in the clash of empires that began in the 7th century. The modern nation-states of the Middle East, from Egypt to Syria to Iraq, owe their existence in part to the political and cultural transformations that took place in the wake of the Arab conquests. Understanding the Arab-Byzantine Wars is not just about understanding history. It's about understanding the world we live in today. The Arab conquests were not just a military and political triumph, they were a spiritual one as well. These conquests marked the beginning of a new era, where the teachings of Islam began to spread far and wide, transcending borders and cultures. The early Muslim warriors, driven by their faith and a sense of divine mission, embarked on a series of campaigns that would change the course of history. Within a century of the Prophet Muhammad's death, Islam had spread from the Arabian Peninsula to become one of the world's major religions. This rapid expansion was not just a result of military might, but also due to the compelling message of Islam, which resonated with many people across different regions. The promise of a just and equitable society under Islamic rule attracted countless converts. The reasons for this rapid expansion are complex, but the Arab-Byzantine Wars played a crucial role. These conflicts weakened the Byzantine Empire, creating a power vacuum that the early Muslims were quick to fill. The strategic and tactical brilliance of Muslim generals, combined with the internal strife within the Byzantine territories, facilitated the swift and effective spread of Islam. The early Muslim community, inspired by their faith and led by capable leaders, had proven themselves to be a formidable force. Leaders like Caliph Umar and Khalid ibn al-Walid were not only skilled in warfare, but also in governance, ensuring that the newly conquered territories were integrated smoothly into the Islamic State. Their leadership was instrumental in maintaining the momentum of Islamic expansion. The conquest of vast territories once ruled by Christian empires gave Islam a new legitimacy and prestige in the eyes of the world. The architectural and cultural achievements in these regions under Islamic rule further solidified the religion's influence. Cities like Damascus and Baghdad became centers of learning and culture, attracting scholars and intellectuals from all over the world. It also brought millions of new converts into the fold of Islam, drawn to the new faith's message of equality and justice. The social and economic benefits of being part of the Islamic community were significant, and many people found the principles of Islam to be a refreshing change from the existing social orders. The inclusive nature of Islam allowed it to adapt and thrive in diverse cultural settings. The Arab-Byzantine Wars, in a very real sense, were the crucible in which Islam was forged into a world religion. These wars not only expanded the geographical reach of Islam, but also helped to define its identity and mission. The challenges faced and overcome during this period laid the foundation for the enduring legacy of Islam as a major world religion. The Arab-Byzantine Wars were a clash of titans, a pivotal chapter in the story of human civilization. They were a time of extraordinary change, of empires rising and falling, of faith tested and transformed. From the sands of Yarmouk to the gates of Constantinople, the battles raged, shaping the destiny of millions. These wars were brutal, bloody, and unforgiving, but they also gave rise to a new world, a new order, a new faith that would reshape the map of human history. To understand the modern Middle East, to understand the rise of Islam, to understand the forces that have shaped our world, we must remember the clash of empires that unfolded 1400 years ago. The echoes of those ancient battles, like the desert winds, still whisper to us today.